Yeah, I can see us. Oh yeah, I can hear myself.
Okay, now my mic is working. So off the bat, we're instantly having issues, but I think we're good. So welcome everybody to Pixels, Sprites, and Nonsense. I guess we just started with the nonsense. Now I can hear myself on something. Okay, now I can. That's perfect. So with me here is Vash
Heyo.
and Metzman.
Hello.
I think Metzman just had his pizza. He had some issue
Yeah,
with the delivery.
I was gonna shoot the delivery guy, but he came really late, and then he didn't come at all, and then I had to reorder my pizza. So that was fun.
But
Great.
you just had your pizza.
Yeah, I had most of it, so I'm
Angry
over my
mode is
hangry
over.
phase. So I'm good.
No more hangry.
No more
Okay,
hangries.
What would have been an interesting podcast though.
it would have been. We can just do a
Oh,
podcast about food.
I'm
Yeah.
gonna be
So
angry anyway. But
yeah,
Okay. Oh yeah.
I got tagged in something yesterday. I'm really looking forward to that. So,
Oh, you
but
got text.
today we're
Okay.
gonna talk about games and if they are not if they are a waste of time, but if games are padded too much, if they are too long, if it's unfair that they get scrutinized for being either short or below like a 20-hour uh, threshold. So we're going to talk
Hmm.
about that today. That's going to be our main topic. Or we're going to talk about what we played in the last 2 weeks, and we'll see where it goes from there. So let's roll the intro, and we'll be right back. And we're back. At least I think we are. Yes, we are. Okay, so let's start with Vash. What have you been up to in the last 2 weeks?
Um. Well, I've been playing mostly two games.
Two games.
Or well, three. I played couple of games, but I want to talk about two of them. One of them is RoboQuest,
Okay.
which is
Quest.
a fun roguelike first-person shooter. It's it's enjoyable. It's out of early access, so 1.0 is out now, and I don't know. It's just fun. I mean, yeah.
You
I mean, you're a
didn't.
robot. You go through stuff like procedurally generated levels,
Okay.
and you shoot other robots. You,
Kind of look like
the
Bumblebee.
well, yeah, sort of, but no, it's very colorful. It can be fast paced. You can play in all sorts of ways you'd like. There's different classes. You have like the regular guardian, which is the first one you start with, which is more of a tank.
Mm-hmm.
Then there's the engineer who uses robots or drones rather, and there's one of them I haven't unlocked yet, which is an elemental
Okay.
robot. It's also very interesting. There's a ranger, which yeah, you. The fun part is you can get different weapons. You have like two weapons max, so you have to switch around a lot. And everything you do, at some point you just unlock a lot of stuff. Um, you find new weapons. You can upgrade at a common base. There's also a co-op involved. I'm not sure if you can play with 3 or 4 player co-op. I have tried it with someone else who invited me for a session with just 2 players, and it's very challenging. It's very enjoyable. You can play it on easy, normal, and hard.
Okay.
Of course, hard gives you more.
It
Yeah.
always does.
But yeah, but
Better.
I love that the idea that you can upgrade your weapons in between levels and that sort of stuff. So it's fun. I like
Okay.
it. Yeah.
Hmm.
And the other game is Karamazoo.
I heard about that title.
Yep, I've talked about it before, which is it's something different. It's a very
Oh, it's this one.
altruistic
Yeah.
platformer.
Yeah.
So you have to help you have to help each other to finish it. And there's all sorts of different animals and objects that you can be to continue, and you can help each other. You have to help each other in order to progress through the levels and grab the fruits, and ultimately the karma. And you have to grow the karma tree, and that will give you points so you can unlock new characters and new areas. And there's like over 200 levels. Some levels are very much designed for certain characters.
This is,
Um,
what's sad? I like the concept, but what saddens me
mhm,
is somewhere down the line, in about a year, maybe two, this will be a
mhm.
dead game and no one can actually play it because there's
Maybe.
no one to find. That's
No,
just
no, no. You can play it. You can play it on your own.
yeah, but you need friends,
Even.
right? It's like a
Well, it's some of not
multiplayer
always.
mandatory thing.
It's not really mandatory, but I did play some levels on my own just to test it out, and there are definitely levels designed that you can finish on your own.
Okay.
Although there are some caveats, um, but no, it's fun. I really enjoyed it a lot, and maybe well, yeah, not every level, um, but there's this thing called Halo. It's a halo around you, and it grows smaller and smaller the longer you're away from your friends. So okay, so yeah, it is pretty much sort of mandatory, but you can basically finish your game
It's more
on
fun
some
with
levels.
friends. So if
Yeah, it's a
anybody
lot more
is
fun with
interested
friends.
in this, just pick it up rather sooner than
Yeah,
later
it's
because
also it's also pretty cheap.
it might. Don't we?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
But
Cool
I think the
stuff.
support is pretty much there. There's also there's a very much a fun communication system. So there's no talking. There's just everybody knows what to do eventually. So that's pretty cool.
Nice.
Yeah,
Good stuff.
and that's it. That's it about the games that I really
That's
wanted to
it
talk
for
about.
you. Okay, then I'm going to start talking about my stuff, and we're gonna close off with Mets because he has stuff to say. Okay.
Hmm.
First of all, let's put my mic up a little closer. That might help. So I finished Spider-Man 2. I liked the game, but it's side of already kind of talking about the main topic. I was happy with the length. I didn't want it to be any longer. I finished it at about 26 hours and I was fine. I
Yeah.
kind of was done with the game. I wanted it to end and I was happy when it did. I didn't hate it. I liked the entire experience. I just happy it wasn't 30 hours and I'm really happy it wasn't 40. Just, the story came to an end. It was interesting, but I'm happy there was not any more padding. So that's just yeah,
Yeah,
it's a good game.
I
It's
hear
just
you.
more Spider-Man. It's kind of what you expect from the original game. It's kind of this in the same line as Miles Morales. It doesn't do anything extremely new. Yes, there's a new enemy. Yes, there are some new powers. But yeah, it's still a Spider-Man game.
Yeah.
So it's a pretty safe sequel. Let's just keep it at that. Then I did play some other stuff. I've mostly been grabbing my 3DS lately and playing some games like Pokemon Conquest, stuff like that. Uh, and I checked out a new game because somebody wrote an article about it that it was kind of Vampire Survivors meets Hades,
Hmm.
and they also sprinkled a little Diablo item fetching in there,
Yeah.
and it's cool. It's called Death Must Die, and
Oh
it's
yeah,
it's about
yeah.
it's a $7 game. It's kind of cheap.
Yeah.
It runs like a dream on the Steam Deck. It's just 60 frames all over, no slowdowns. But yeah, it's extremely fun. But basically, when you level up, you get to choose either one of three perks, which is very Hades. You get to talk to these gods. These gods will give you your powers. They can be novice, adept, or champion level. And it is still kind of Vampire Survivors, like you're kind of auto attacking. Waves are coming at you. Movement is king. But yeah, it's you also find some items. You'll keep the items after you die, so you'll
Mm.
get to keep them. They do get get bound to your characters. So if you swap them out, they're basically useless.
Mm.
So that's the way you can kind of keep playing this. I've only unlocked 2 characters so far. But the runs are about 20 minutes so far, and then I kind of start dying. You meet some bosses which have some interesting mechanics. So some of them are like zipping across the screen, and you get this red zone that you need to step out of, so you won't get hit. There's a dodge mechanic. You can dodge once or twice. Um, so it's pretty good. I'm actually
Mm.
enjoying that one. I think if you like Vampire Survivors and you're looking for something new that is a little bit more fast paced, and does feel good, then this is definitely one of them. Also, it's voice acted. All the gods are completely voice acted. They basically have multiple senses. The game is still in early access. So yeah, check it out, pick it up. It's definitely worth a look for just $7.
Mm.
Nice.
So that's it for me. So let's start with Matsman. You have something to say about, I think it was Alan Wake.
Yes, I've played and finished Alan Wake 2.
Oh, nice.
Took me, if I look at the clock on Epic, it's 31 hours. So it's kind
Hmm.
of in the same vein as Control for me in terms of how much time I spent. But yeah, I have something to say. And that is that the presentation of this game is fantastic. It is the best looking game of 2023. I'm going to say that with full confidence. I made some screenshots that look like photographs. It's really amazing.
Cool.
But my problem is the gameplay itself, and how the game is structured. So the story is great, the graphics are great, the audio is great, the music is great. Like everything that has to do with storytelling, something that Remedy really likes to do, is fantastic, and that's where their strengths lie. Like you can feel it through the whole game. My problem is that it took me way too long to figure things out in the game, like where to go next, what to do. Like a lot of the game is basically you're walking like it feels like you're walking on a movie set, and you have to find the next part where to go, and
Right.
to create progression basically.
It's like
And
you need to interact with the right item for something to happen.
yeah, if what you see on for example, what you see now here is Alan Wake. He's in New York, and you have this light thing. If I press and hold F here, I can like change the setting around you a little bit. Like
Okay.
some
Right.
things might open up.
Okay.
Um,
That's interesting.
yeah, it's very interesting because you kind of shift like the environment. And then there's also in this environment of the Alan Wake, because the game is split in two, right? You play two characters. You play
Yeah.
Alan Wake, and you
Wake
play
and
Saga,
the new character. Yeah.
FBI character.
Yeah.
So in Alan Wake's world, it basically feels like two games a bit. Like in Alan Wake's world, you have like these scenes, and you can like apply different themes to those scenes, and that will also change the environment for that scene environment. So you're constantly having to look, okay, what, like the lamp thing is a switch thing, and then you have the scene thing is a switch thing. And the game is often just like go to the next spot you're supposed to. You have to kind of figure out by how the story tells you where to go, what is expected. And
No hand holding.
no, there's no hand holding. There's no objective markers, right? I mean, that's kind of what Remedy does with their other games with Control as
Yeah.
well. You kind of have to figure it out a little bit, and I don't
Yeah.
mind that. But like for example, in this part of my stream, I was just lost. I was like, okay, my objective was to get through the subway station. I opened the subway station, and then there's a dead end, and I'm like, what? And then
Okay.
I think it turns out because very much later, like basically near the ending of the game, I kind of understood the mechanics, because they
Oh.
don't. I think they might have explained it like I have to emphasis this. Maybe I'm just a freaking dumbass. Okay, uh, like because you basically have to. I
We
guess you have
all
to
are. We
collect
all are.
lights
Mhm.
and you can then use those lights to switch the scenes.
Oh,
And I think
right,
I missed that part. I thought you just push the button and then you switch the scene. Like for here
right,
example, there's a light where you can switch that light, but it's not like you don't have a charge. And I never understood why it said no charges left, because if I do it here, it works. But that's because
right.
because you pick up a light here. So literally while I'm explaining this, I finally understand the mechanic.
No, wow.
I just realized
All right.
that. And
Well, shoot.
that's really stupid. I think so.
Mhm.
Maybe I'm partially to blame why I didn't like that mechanic.
Maybe you
Um,
missed something
Yeah, but
with an explanation or something. I don't know. It
yeah,
happens.
it could have been like in like the very first time you used the mechanic.
Mhm.
That see, I'm looking at the map and it's like light inactive, and I just didn't get it. I was like, what not inactive? It's like I'm just getting really confused, and
Mhm.
so that's probably my biggest problem why I didn't understand why I couldn't get any further at certain points.
Yeah.
Um, but overall, there's just a lot of walking to a spot and then then you progress the story a little bit. You see a scene, you see like the live action mixing in with the game graphics. That's really cool effect. um but yeah, and the problem is that that's a lot of the game, and then the fighting sometimes happens. So it's
Right.
like, if, for example, you don't see them here, but most of the time in spending in this New York environment, there's like basically ghost figures everywhere, and those
Mhm.
ghost figures might get aggressive. And I don't know what the rules for that are either. But if they get aggressive, you have to fight them. They become active basically.
it seems like the
Um,
rules the developers are imposing on the players are just fake at best.
yeah, I mean,
Mm.
I'm not saying I'm stupid. Maybe I am, but I don't know. It's very fake, because sometimes when you just wait in front of like a crowd of these shadow people, and you
Mhm.
aim your flashlight a little bit at them, they just might just disappear and fizzle out in front of you. So I learned that later. I was like, okay, so if I'm careful, they might just disappear as well. And
I
then
mean, that
other
was part of
times,
the
out of
first game as
nowhere.
well.
Sorry.
I think that was part of the first game as well.
No, no, no. The first game was, you had the Taken, right? The enemies.
Yeah.
They were just covered in shadows, and you just fight them. You just burn the light.
Right. Yeah.
You burn the shield
That
off
was
with
it.
your light,
Yeah.
and then you
Yeah.
shoot them, and then they die.
Right.
So here they go. These are the shadow people.
Oh, the shadow
So
people. Yeah.
it's a little bit different. Like they're like wandering around, and
Lost souls.
yeah, it's kind of like, yeah. There's an explanation for what, or at
Of
least
course.
I think it
Lost
is what
souls.
it is. But yeah, it's but yeah. So that was one of my big problems, and again, that might be my own fault that I didn't pay
Mhm.
attention enough at the beginning. But yeah, there's a lot of also in Saga stuff. There's a lot of storytelling, and the developers trying to get you to spots, and then basically just have scenes and interactive scenes and
Hmm.
flashbacks and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And combat is, especially in the beginning, is just, it happens a few every, I know, like like once every 30 minutes or something. You have a fight, um, because either there's a setup fight or there's just random spawns of like maybe two dudes in the forest that you have to fight. And I was
Yeah.
like, okay, it seems so weird. It's almost like those are separate elements, and they're like, okay, we're just gonna throw a few fights here and there. So
Mm.
it gets more crazy later, but yeah. So that was one of my things. Um, and there's also a lot of side activities that feel a little bit artificial, a little bit gamey.
Mm.
For example, in Saga's part, you have this. Oh wait, I'm gonna click on this. You have like these little puzzles that you solve, where you place like dolls on a certain spot, because there's like a poem, and you have to figure out
Mm.
what the dolls, which spots the dolls have to be to mirror the like what is being told. And it feels a little bit like, okay, we're really good at writing, so we have all these poems and things you have to figure out, but you solve them and then nothing really happens. Like, I guess you solved the poem now,
There's
and
no
it's like
payoff.
Mm.
there's no payoff. And then
Mm.
there's like there's the loot boxes, and some of them have locks on them with like a combination lock, and you have to find the code. And sometimes it's like, you know, you have to solve a mathematical problem, like there's glowing symbols on a tree or something.
But there's an upside to
Um,
it. That code is at least not your credit card.
Yeah.
exactly.
Loot box joke. Sorry, couldn't help.
Yeah. No, I get it. I mean, loot boxes are very bad. Very bad
Yeah.
stuff.
But yeah, most of those boxes are like, you know, there's a little bit of ammo and health in them, and stuff like that. But there's also just random boxes that have a whole new weapon in them.
Okay.
So you're like, okay, I have to open every single box because you never know what might be in it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so yeah, it's
Are you
that
feeling
makes it a
lucky?
little bit inconsistent. It's like, do I have to like go and clear the whole map for all these boxes, or do I just, you know, want to focus on the main story and stuff?
Boxes
Yeah.
everywhere.
One cool thing is that the game has like a mind palace. Like you have your own mind palace in the game, and as the FBI agent, it's like the pin-up board where you pin up photos, and she
Right.
like has lines. So you kind of like it's your way to keep
Track
you know,
of the
keep
story.
just keep understand the story better.
Okay.
Right.
So the plot details and
Yeah,
which
it's
groups hold.
she has
go
like one of
where.
those conspiracy boards with lines going,
Yeah.
connecting
Yeah,
with
the
little
connecting the
like
dots
little,
and stuff. Yeah.
It's all
exactly.
connected.
So if you encounter new information, they will add like little photographs into that mind palace, and you have to
Okay.
place them in the right spots. So you have to do it yourself. So you kind of like connect the dots yourself, basically.
Well, that's nice.
Yeah, it's nice, but it is still very linear. Like there's only one spot those photos go, right? So
Right.
You can't do it
it's-
wrong.
no, you cannot do
Okay.
it wrong. You know, if you do it wrong, she's less like, oh, damn it, that's not how it goes. You know, something like that.
Stupid is, stupid does.
Yeah, something like
Yep.
that. So it's basically a little bit of a filler side thing you can do, but it also opens up new revelations if you do that. I think, if I remember correctly.
If you could change one thing about this game, because we know technically it's really good. If you could
Yeah.
change one thing that would make it instantly better for you, what would that be?
I would say because that's one of my other big complaints. The combat. The game is very close up in your face, and there's a very low FOV.
Okay.
So this means that when I was fighting, I was constantly like, I can't look around me because everything's so close up, and some of these enemies are really fast. So that means that they're like in front of you, and they zap behind you, and then they're behind you, like, and you have to like, because the FOV is so low and it's a lot of tight spaces, it feels really cramped. And
Also, it's over the shoulder gameplay, right? So
yeah,
like you're basically your character's model is half the screen.
yeah, exactly. So in
Right,
One
yeah.
Wake 1, it was like pulled back a lot.
Yeah.
And you had a lot better view. And what also doesn't help is you move quite slow. Even running is more like a light jog. So within combat, you kind of you have to dodge attacks and stuff, and you have to time them very, very precisely, otherwise you get hit. And you also have to expect the attacks. So that's my biggest complaint, is that the combat, it was just not fun for me. I was almost like, oh god, I have to fight again sometimes, where the fighting should be one of the fun elements, right? And it just wasn't for me. So I would definitely at least change the combat and
Right.
make it a little bit more like Alan Wake 1. Like, make it fun, make it challenging, maybe, like with multiple enemies. And some of the enemies do weird stuff, but it was also very basic. It was all the same rules as the original. You know, burn their shadow away from their bodies, and then you kill them. Then you can like harm them with bullets. And there were never like any interesting mechanics added to the combat, because that was not the
That's a
goal
shame.
of the game. Yeah, so it feels a lot like having a point and click adventure game, mixed with
But
some
3D. Yeah.
with some combat here and there,
Right.
and
I mean, it
puzzling a
could
plot
work,
together.
But yeah, it's definitely a change from the first game. Then,
Yeah,
yeah,
which was more
and
of like an action horror thing.
yeah.
yeah, that's my another problem. Like when they labeled it survival horror, I was thinking Resident Evil, but more in a traditional sense that it was really about being in a survival horror game and
Mhm.
limited resources and puzzling. Yeah, it kind of is, but it doesn't feel like it because there's so much story spacing in there. And I don't know. And yeah, another thing, and it wasn't really that scary. One of the
Mm.
things they do over and over in this game, something that really bothered me, is they have these full screen jump scares, which are it's not something that happens in front of you in the game, but it's like a short 1 second flash of screen
Mm.
flash, like you see Alan Wake's face or on a monster's face, like like that, right?
Yeah.
And it happens a lot in this game, and it happens at the most like random moments, where it's just quiet, you're backtracking, and then suddenly out of nowhere you get this flash, and
Mm.
I got really sick and tired of it. I was like, like because jump scares are easy, right? You do a loud sound
Yeah.
and a flashing thing, and boom, of course a player is going to get like shocked by it. It just felt
Well,
so.
yeah, a regular player maybe, but jump scares never did anything for me. So that's I do get kind of bored of those.
Yeah,
It's the
but
same
I
with
yeah.
certain horror movies. I can see them coming from a mile away, and it's kind of boring.
Yeah, but it's a cheap scare. It's
So,
it's not really earned.
Yeah, if a
mhm.
monster jumps out of a around a corner or out of a door or something, I kind of would like that. And
Okay,
there's a few scenes where that happens,
right.
with boss monsters appearing and stuff. But
Mhm.
most of the scares are those jump scares,
Yeah.
and I was like getting annoyed. I was at a certain point. I said, I'm never gonna play this game again because of that alone.
Mm.
Because it's just so annoying. It's like you're trying to focus on the story and you're investigating things, and then bam, you get that thing in your face. So yeah, it's
Right. I mean, it could be
s-
fun, but yeah, I mean,
yeah, it just feels really cheap to me.
mm,
Like you didn't have any bring any effort in making the game environment scary.
mhm.
Uh, but you're just getting annoyed by these big loud flashes in your face, and
Right.
it was funny because in the beginning I thought, okay, that I get why they do it. They have it in Alan Wake 1 as well, but
Mhm.
a lot less, and it just happened too often. Like I was really annoying by it, but yeah, did finish it. There's some really cool scenes, like again, presentation wise, just some amazing scenes in this, like the mix of real life video and game visuals, and of course the plot has some nice, some nice things.
Mm.
Words are difficult.
Yep.
Some nice how do you call it? Plot things.
Plot twists?
Twists. Plot twists. That's the word I was looking for. The game
Plot
has some nice
things, yeah.
plot twists, and it's as a sequel story, it's nice.
Mhm.
But yeah, there was just a little bit too much storytelling, and there was just little things as well, like seeing Alan Wake on his typewriter, like going like, I have to finish the story. I have to write it. I have to write the good ending. I have to fix this. Constantly doing that, and
Mm.
it felt like there was so much of those filler moments where it didn't add anything. It was like, okay, I get it. He has to fix the story. Dot dot dot. You know.
Right.
So, but yeah. So that yeah, I liked Saga's points better. I don't know if you
Mm.
can show a little bit of Saga. I think I switch somewhere
There you go.
here. Yeah. Saga is a little bit more. I think I liked it more. The combat felt a little bit better because the Alan Wake you have the shadow people, and in with Saga it's more the traditional Alan Wake enemies, the Taken that you fight. Um, but um, but yeah, and then you get a little better weapons as well. I think as Saga, so
Right. Well, it's still on
it's
my list, so
yeah,
I might
it
pick
is.
it up.
It is like they're very difficult for to recommend, because I know I've heard a lot of people who love this game. You know, I had to
Yeah, a
watch
lot of people.
Ko's thoughts on it. He said it was one of his favorite games of all time.
Hmm.
That he thought that Remedy has perfected their formula for this game. And I
mean,
don't know. I me personally just had a very different experience.
Didn't hit with you.
Um, no, and I think the
it
combat
happens.
was the number one complaint. That
Hmm.
I don't know if it was difficulty, and I was playing on normal, so it was not even hard or anything.
No.
Um, but I was just getting annoyed by the combat, and getting a lot of one shotted, like
Yeah.
by guys that just zap to you and then hit you and you're dead. And I was like,
Mm.
how could I have evaded that? Because you're in very tight spaces
Dodge?
somehow. Yeah,
No, I
exactly.
get that. I get that.
Even knowing how to
Yeah.
dodge, it's and I think that's also one of the big problems in the beginning of the game, is that because there's not a lot of combat in the beginning of the game, like in the first half or so,
Mm-hmm.
is you
Hmm.
don't really train yourself in the combat because of that. Like there's not
Right.
enough combat sections to train your brain in how the fights work. So yeah,
Mm.
and that's basically my thoughts on Alan Wake 2. It's
Right.
definitely worth playing if you like story games, if you like see beautiful visuals. It was also one of the first games that I played with HDR. I have
Mm.
an HDR monitor, and
Hmm.
some of the scenes I made some screenshots, but that doesn't do it justice, because you have to have HDR for that. But
Hmm.
some of the scenes with like morning sunlight going through like fog, and like the the gloom and stuff,
Hmm.
is so gorgeous in this game. It was really breathtaking. So yeah, it's definitely the most beautiful game of the year. Um, but yeah, I kind of had that feeling at the end. I was like, oh god, I'm glad it's over. Like, and which is not something I like to feel, right?
Mm.
Um, but yeah, I mean, the actors were fine. I think Alan Wake himself, I always think he's a little cheesy, a little bit school play. I don't know why, but it's just his expressions and how he talks.
Hmm.
I don't like it. Saga was great. Um, yeah, there were some funny characters in there. Two guys that do a lot of like TV spots, like TV commercials in like you see on the TVs. Those were excellent. There's a familiar character from Control in there, which does a great job. I won't spoil too much about that, but
Hmm.
Control's involved. The Federal
Right.
Bureau of Control's involved in this story.
Of
Uh,
course,
oh, here's one of
because
those
it's all connected.
commercials. Yeah, it's all connected. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
one universe. So
Yeah.
if you're a fan of Control and Alan Wake and you want to know more, this is definitely a game to play. I thought it was
Hmm.
going to be a little bit more involved with Control, but yeah, there's some characters
They
from
might be setting things up for the
yeah,
future.
there's definitely some setups and some hints at things to happen.
Hmm.
Um, and of course, it has a very Alan Wake style ending as well.
Right.
So I'm not gonna say what, but yeah, there's like it opens more questions. Let's say that.
Cool.
So yeah, So yeah, I had to rant about that game because I think was a little bit angry that they didn't like that it didn't have that feel for the combat and stuff that I wanted.
Right.
Because it's such a beautifully crafted game. Uh, in like on an art level, that I was like, damn it, why am I annoyed at this video game when I should be like enjoying it? And
Yeah.
it's just a little bit sad. But yeah,
Okay.
I'm not gonna ramble
Cool.
anymore. Yeah.
Okay.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
Let's see. We have about 25 minutes left to talk about our main topic. Our main. That's enough.
Yeah.
That's enough time.
That's fine.
That's fine.
That's fine.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, so let's start with our main topic. Let's see. So it's basically about games being too long. How do we feel about that? Personally feel that games are getting padded a lot, and kind of in reviews nowadays they get scrutinized for being short. But I'm a guy that doesn't have a lot of time. I can play games for 40 hours, 60 hours, whatever. I just don't have that amount of time. It took me over close to a month to finish Spider-Man 2, and it only took 26 hours. I have like 1 hour or 2 hours a day at most. And that's if I want to play a video game. So some days you just want to watch either a show or a movie. Like I watched John Wick 4 yesterday. Pretty bad movie, by the way. But
I'm sorry.
John Wick 4.
Oh yeah, it was fine.
Yeah, okay. There's just a slight side tangent, but it's just the choreography is really bad. The CG is really bad. The way they did the gun muzzle flashes is really bad. Sometimes it's not even on the gun. It was sloppy. It was quickly done. Obviously, it's a John Wick thing, so the story didn't matter. But yes, some days you just want to do something else.
There's some good stuff in there, but yeah, I agree that they dropped the ball on some other stuff.
Yeah, also some of the choreography or fight scenes just took way too long. Like, when you get bored at a fight scene, you fucked up.
Yes.
Yeah, that's true.
So, but back to video games. So I don't have the time to go through 600 hour or 100 hour games. Like Baldur's Gate 3, it's on the back burner. I love the game, but it's difficult to get back into to actually give that amount of time. You guys have a little bit more time than I do, but still, how do you guys feel about games getting kind of long in the tooth lately?
Well, I kind of stopped playing the Assassin's Creed games because they were too long for me.
That happened to me as well.
Yeah, I somehow managed to finish Origin, but I saw how big Odyssey was and how big Valhalla was, and I'm like, no, I'm out. I'm just out.
Yeah, like
I love the Assassin's Creed games, but
Valhalla is like a 200-hour game. It's ridiculous.
I know.
Yeah, that I wouldn't.
Ain't nobody got
be
time
able
for
to
that.
get through
No?
that. No,
No.
I couldn't. And that's main quest.
Some people do,
like
but-
if you just like beeline it.
Main quest is 100 plus if you want to do like main quest plus, so do a lot of additional stuff and just play it very leisurely. You're looking at a 100-hour game. If you want to do if you want to complete it, you're looking at between 200 and 300 hours. It's nuts.
Yeah. And the bad part is that something like Spider-Man 2 came out and people were complaining, oh, it took me 30 hours to finish the game, and only 30 hours. The game is way too short. I'm like, no, dude, this is a great, a good amount of time. It's not too long.
It was 26 hours, and I felt like I got my money's worth. The game was fine. I did think that they padded the combat in that game. Like at some point you have to take out Venom's nests or symbiote nests, and you have to do that twice. You can literally clear the map once, then you do a story mission, and just do it again. Like, here are 4 additional more nests. I don't think that was necessary. They could have just left the last 4 out. That would have been fine. Also, the bosses have like 5 stages, some of them.
Yeah.
So I was kind of okay-ish with it, but I was playing the game on the hardest difficulty, and luckily you do get a checkpoint each and every stage. Because if it would have sucked if you would have died on stage 4 and had to go back to square one. That would have been bad. So it's fine
that they do that, and it's so annoying.
That they're segmented, especially because you were just talking about one-shotting, and I got one-shotted by Venom like a few times. Like, he just kept wailing on me. Dodging wasn't really an option, and you would just die. But for having 5 segments on a boss and letting a boss fight last like 20 minutes, that that Mariko was actually getting bored. She was getting bored with the fights. So that's not really. Let's put the screen back on. So that wasn't really great. But the game itself is fine. The story is fine. It didn't feel like they had to pad it out. Like, the Mysterio stuff wasn't necessary. That was kind of dumb.
It was kind of fun. It was fun though. Well, the thing is, Mysterio and some other villains that you see in the first and the second game, They show up here again,
Yeah, they're
and
reformed.
yeah, some of them, yeah. So that's I do kind of like that. There's like follow up to what happened to them, but yeah, I mean,
It could have been an Easter egg. It
yeah,
didn't need to be like 7 missions that give you an
hmm
audio recording that doesn't do anything.
yeah, that's true. It could have
It's
been
it's
something a bit more.
it's
I
kind of been a
agree.
trend with these like even like in the old days PS2 Spider-Man 1 and 2 is
Hmm
to have like all the major villains in there
Yeah.
at least
Yeah.
once. Like okay, we have to have this full roster because we have an open world city game where
hmm
we have enough. We need enough to do. We need enough characters, and it's always like I feel like always like oh they're all back again.
hmm
Like what are they teaming up again or what? Like it feels like it's
It
like a
yeah.
standard
It's
plan
not
or
just
something.
Spider-Man. The same thing happened with the Arkham games. Like it's
Yeah,
the same rogue gallery all over again, like constantly.
hmm
Uh,
yeah,
Some of them it makes sense. Like you can't, yeah, I mean, Killer Croc, for instance, he's strong. He can survive a lot of stuff. So,
yeah.
you know, it makes sense. But for others, yeah, no.
I kind
Uh,
of understand that like that also for a lot of fans it's probably just fun to
True.
to encounter them again,
Yeah,
even in a new game because it's it's a new game. So how are they what are they gonna do this time?
exactly. Like I
Um,
said, the follow-up
yeah,
is there for those that enjoy it. Yeah.
but it's like it would be interesting to see like a very focused game,
hmm
um, where they just have one major villain or maybe two or three or something, and not like the whole rogue gallery again for something like this. But I
Yeah.
guess if you can incorporate them in the story well, and it doesn't
hmm
feel like oh they're also in the game, but they're like completely separate from the main story in
Yeah.
every way. They're just like tagged on, and they have their own like bubble of missions
hmm
and story things. Because that's like
Hmm.
then you're adding on something extra,
Yeah.
which it kind of feels like a Lego piece
yeah.
glued to it.
Speaking of Lego, those games are padded. Like
Oh
crazy.
yeah.
Oh yeah,
Oh
that's the
They're
yeah.
whole
crazy
point.
padded.
Yeah, those are
So much
designed
stuff
to
in
be
there.
like
Yep.
played a
Lots of
lot.
characters you yeah, lots of characters you can unlock and that sort of stuff. I already finished it on PC, Lego Marvel Superheroes 2, but I, decided to play it again on the PlayStation
I
today.
can get
So,
through too. I loved the first one. The second
hmm
one, it just bothers me that they decided to just cut everything out that didn't have anything to do with Disney or the MCU. It bothers me to
hmm.
no end. But that's different.
Oh no, that was Avengers,
No, they cut out the
Lego
X Men.
Avengers.
They cut out the X Men. They
Yeah, but
added
that was Avengers,
no
Lego Avengers.
no that's Marvel Superhero 2. There's no X Men in there.
Really? I never
Yep.
paid attention to that.
Nope, there's no
Could
X-Men.
be. Yeah.
There's no
Okay.
X-Men, there's no Fantastic Four.
Hmm.
Everything that obviously there's still
Oh
Spider-Man,
yeah,
but
yeah. Spider-Man's there. Miss Marvel is there.
yeah, they focused on the MCU
Yeah,
stuff. That they stopped
yeah.
focusing on
Lots of MCU stuff.
stuff
Yeah.
that's not MCU because well,
hmm
Disney.
Yeah.
It's dumb. But that's a different side note. So
Yeah, but they're also very long.
yeah,
Like all of the
they're
Lego games are
extremely
pretty
long to
long.
play.
Yeah,
Yeah,
They
they
want you
do.
to do the same mission over and over again because you
hmm
need to get those studs. I've been going through the Star Wars one, the new one.
Oh yeah,
Luke
Skywalker Saga.
Skywalker Saga.
So
Yeah.
I think I've made it through the old movies. I made it through or actually I made it through episode 1 to 6 and 7, 8,
hmm
and 9. I just couldn't do it.
No.
I because I was burned out at that point. It's not that
Yeah.
it's not that I blame those movies or those story points. It's just that I've done it all. I've seen everything. I basically unlocked. I had to grab one stud and I would instantly finish that. Thank you for putting it up, by the way. So if I would pick up one stud, it would be like multiplied by a million, and I would instantly get
Right.
through the true Jedi. So
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
didn't do anything anymore. All I could do was
No.
just find a million little mini kits, do a million little side things to unlock
Mm-hmm.
additional characters and all that stuff.
Yep.
And at some point, you just grow tired. And I
Yep.
think I played that game for close to 30 hours. It's one of those games I could play when the kids were around, so it's, easy pickups. But
Yeah.
yeah, it just took forever.
Mm-hmm.
It's funny how that's one of the things I always notice with these Lego games. I think I have Lego Jurassic Park because Jurassic Park
Yeah.
fan,
Mm-hmm.
and I just was surprised how they can make like even like the opening scene of Jurassic Park where they have the raptor in the cage and have to
Hmm.
deliver it to the thing, and then the accident happens. That's
Mm-hmm.
a whole freaking level where you
Mm-hmm.
just run around in that environment doing things that have
Yep.
nothing to do with that, specific scene. But it's just, oh, we have the environment, so let's make a whole level out of it.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's kind of. I mean, I kind of get why they do it because you're limited with the movie in what
Mm-hmm.
kind of environments you have, and it's kind of funny to walk around in that
Yeah.
scene, I guess. But yeah, it's like they're stretching everything to the
Oh
max
yeah.
in those games.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So
Yeah.
It's really hard to complete those.
Yeah. I did Platinum Lego Marvel Heroes and I think Avengers as well.
I didn't.
But
Yeah.
yeah, I'm not sure I'm gonna do that with this one.
Avengers was too much of the same. Like it,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It was basically just playing the movies. The levels would be
Right.
based around that.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it was kind of fun at the time, but I do enjoy the Marvel or the Lego Marvel stuff, but I don't really care much anymore for all the other
Mm.
Lego games.
Yeah,
I played the Lord of the Rings one for a bit. I got bored.
yeah. That's the problem.
So
You get bored with these, because
yeah,
I don't think these games really value your time as a player. They just want you
no,
to do busy work and
yeah,
to just spend a lot of
yeah,
time. And obviously nowadays we have a lot of games that require you to spend a lot of time that you can't play anything else.
mm-hmm.
Diablo is one
True.
of them. The Diablo turned into
A
basically
GOS
a
game.
live service game now.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah. Games as a service. Yay.
because of the season pass stuff and
Mm-hmm.
the seasons, and yes, some of them are really good. It has a free weekend, by the way. You can play up to level 20 on Steam now, but
Yeah, I know.
it's still you constantly have to restart the game because they want you to start from scratch. So you're
Yeah.
making a new level 1 character every 3 months if you would invest in this game the way they want you to invest in this game.
Mm-hmm.
To get from level 1 to level 50 is maybe a 20 to 30 hour journey.
Yeah.
So that's an incredible investment. Uh,
Yeah.
and then not to mention getting from level 50 to level 100, because level 100 is the cap. I have 3 characters and 3 of them are level 50 plus, and then I
Mm-hmm.
just started playing the season because, and I think the
Right.
first seasonal character actually got to level 50 as well, and
Mm.
now a new season started and I can't bear to get past level 19. Like by
Yeah.
then the game just, I'm done with it. I want
Yeah.
to,
yeah,
because
And it's
I would. Yeah,
that's kind of sad in a way, right? Because with Diablo 3, we made lots of season characters,
yes, and because it
and
was
we leveled
still,
up very fast.
they leveled very fast. You got to the end
Mm-hmm.
game really fast, but it
Yeah.
also stayed fun, and it didn't feel
Mm-hmm.
like you would be left. And that's, I think that's my biggest issue with this. It feels like you're left behind if you don't invest time into this,
Mm-hmm.
because
Yeah.
you're gonna miss out on this, on the battle pass stuff, because you're not gonna get those levels. You're gonna miss out on
Battle
defeating world
passes
bosses.
are
You're gonna miss out
yeah.
on other cosmetics,
Mm-hmm.
uh, because you
Yep.
just need to invest in this game. If you're not that invested, then you play something else in the meantime, you're gonna be left behind.
Yeah.
And that
And
wasn't
that's
an issue with 3.
mm-hmm. And that's maybe something for a different podcast because I've been playing the Division 2 quite a lot. I play almost every season, and you have all the time you need for the season passes. Like there's an entire story. You have to find someone, but every few weeks you get another portion of that story where you can just find that person, do a couple of smaller quests in order to find a person. In this case, usually it was have to kill this person, but now you have to find someone, and they've been really expanding on that. And there's like 4 characters you need to find, and then the 5th one is like the end boss. And but you have so much time. Like I'm currently level 75 or 76, and there's still like 8 weeks left of content that I can do, and I level up pretty fast. So they really value your time. So you don't need to invest
Yeah, but
every day
how much time do
into
you
the game
spend in the game on a weekly basis?
on a weekly basis. Uh, 2-3 hours. You
Yeah,
level up really fast,
for me that would be a day and a half.
right?
So so
No, I
so
get that.
so
I
so
get
that
that.
would basically
Yeah,
be like
but
12 to 40% of
mhm,
all the time,
yeah,
between 12 and 15%
yeah.
of all the
But
time I
compared
can
to
actually
Diablo,
spend.
Yeah.
but compared to Diablo 4, like you just said, you have a lot more time for this one.
Yeah,
I'm not saying you need to do this, but I get that people do still play this game.
I get it.
It's a lot more fun to get back into. It sounds a lot more fun to get back into than just, or at least compared to what you explained from Diablo 4. So, like I said, battle passes could work, but they need to value your time. And if they don't, you get that FOMO. Yeah, that
Mhm.
sucks. That really
Yeah.
sucks. FOMO sucks. FOMO is the worst thing they can do. They did a new thing with Halo, with the battle passes, and they made it like really FOMO, from my understanding.
Is that
So
right? I
I
thought
could
there
be
was
wrong.
Halo had the system where you could always get all the content. That was one of the big things.
Yeah, but there's also this. They also added something new. Um,
I haven't been
but
keeping up with Halo.
no, me
No.
neither, to be honest. But I know that a lot of people were like, "Oh no, this is gonna be bad." But like
Uh,
I said, I haven't really kept up with that, so that's
Mm,
just what I heard, to be honest. So I don't know everything, of course.
okay.
yeah. I think also it's just for us because we're older
Mm-hmm.
and some of us has families and other things that impact our lives
Mm-hmm.
and even me, like someone who has or like you, we have a lot more time
Yeah.
than most like people of our age.
Mm-hmm.
um but still, I don't know if that is an age thing, but I'm usually just tired after work,
Yeah,
and
same here.
Mm-hmm.
and then I'm just gonna, like, I put on a fucking live stream, and maybe I'll play a very simple puzzle game, right? Just laid back like this, and I'll just be clicking things, doing Tetris stuff or puzzle games or survivors or something,
Mm-hmm.
and just getting invested in a big game, especially big titles like Baldur's Gate.
Yeah, I
is
can
it's
feel like an endeavor.
it
Yeah.
Yeah, but you also, because you
Yeah.
also feel kind of like obligated to be
Mm-hmm.
invested.
Yeah.
You want to honor the developers and get into the story, and you
Mm-hmm.
don't want to stop playing too often to lose the story, for example, and all the things you've been doing in these worlds.
Because I'm afraid when I
Yeah, I can
would
see that.
boot
Yeah.
up Baldur's Gate, and it might be the same for you guys, is that I'm not gonna know what the hell I was actually doing, and I'm probably
Yeah,
gonna have to restart if I don't, play that game in the next few weeks, maybe months.
Right.
yeah.
Because
To be honest, I never really had that issue with a lot of games.
I have
It
that
depends a
So
little bit.
or with RPGs for sure. Like that's
okay.
definitely a thing.
Hmm.
But I finished Spider-Man last Saturday, so a week ago,
Yeah.
and I haven't really picked up anything new since then. I've tried picking up Final Fantasy 14. I've played for about an hour and a half. Then I noticed my vision was getting
16
blurry.
or 14.
16, sorry.
16.
So
Yeah.
so I played. I tried to play
Up so.
16. I think I played
Mm-hmm.
it for about an hour, maybe two. And then I noticed
Mm-hmm.
I was getting tired and I haven't started it since, just because I'm tired. Like
Yeah.
I can't. That's why it was easy to play the Survivors game, because I can just grab my
Mm-hmm.
Steam Deck. I can play that
I
for
totally hear you.
20 minutes, maybe
Yep.
40 minutes, maybe an hour, and
Mm-hmm.
then I'm done. Like,
Yeah,
I
but
could just put it back down.
yeah, and you can put your brain at ease because they're very simple games, gameplay wise, and you don't have to really invest in pay attention to the story because there is none.
But even if there's
So
a story, if it's like lighthearted and quite easy.
yes,
Today, after work and before dinner, I
hmm
played I think maybe an hour of Mario RPG. The Switch
right,
re-release. So
yeah,
I played about an hour, but it's such an easy story to get into. The gameplay is fairly simple,
of
even
course,
though it's an
yeah,
RPG. And
hmm
not that it has any merit within the current conversation or discussion, but yeah, it is PG, so I can play when the kids are around because Mario game.
yeah,
But
hmm
yeah, I could just play that for an hour and be fine with that
yeah.
because it doesn't really matter if I'm missing the story. First of all, it has a fantastic synopsis that you can go through, and it will actually tell you where to go next.
Yeah,
Uh,
and more games should do that. When you get back into it, that you get like a short, synopsis exactly of what you've done before.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know the
I
Tales
think
games did that, but
mm,
yeah,
I think they probably do that in Baldur's Gate 3 too, right? There has to be like a
I
I don't
haven't
know,
looked.
or do you only have a? I'm not sure,
yeah,
but I would imagine.
but Baldur's Gate got me at the FOMO when I figured out that if you slept too much at your camp, you could miss out on entire storylines. I
Oh,
Seriously?
right.
kind
Yeah.
Wow.
of I kind of got disheartened because I slept 4 times already, and I already
Mm,
got disheartened when I got the achievement because you get an achievement when you do a long rest at your camp. 4 times
mm,
in a single playthrough. I'm like, I'm in Act 1 and I got that one, and it says if you sleep 4 times in a single playthrough, you get this achievement. Wait, am I playing this game wrong? And
Yeah.
then I
I
read online that you could be able to miss entire parts of the game just because you did some long rests, which is fine because that's how you get your skills and your spells back. So you kind of
Yeah.
need to do that.
hmm
So
You kind of
But the
yeah.
world just grows,
yeah, but
continues,
then
tiny,
now
tiny
I'm feeling
paths
like I'm
in the
gonna
end. Yeah.
miss intricate parts of the game, and that
Hmm.
I
kind of dissuades me from playing it.
I
Yeah.
wonder if how because I heard that before, and then I heard someone else dismiss that a little, like because there's for example, I think in the beginning, in the first area, there's this kind of like, oh, they're gonna attack this, the camp,
Yeah.
hmm
the thing, and I thought there was a time limit on that. Like if you would venture out too long, that they would attack eventually without you being there. But I'm not sure if that was a thing.
Now I know that some characters that are that you can find when they're wounded in the woods, you can actually, if you sleep, they will be dead when you come back. There are a few like
Oh,
those.
okay. Oh, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean that kind of makes sense, I guess.
Mm.
But I was always like I don't think I've ever come across so far at least something that I because I do also do long rests as soon as I can mostly. I use the short rests, but yeah, refreshing spells is really really handy. Especially like I'm getting into harder fights, so it's you really need everything in the book
Yeah.
basically to fight to win
Right.
some of the fights. So
Hmm.
and I think other people actually recommended me to do long rests whenever you can. Also because you do a lot of character bonding in that.
Yeah.
Like
In the camp, yeah.
That's when the
yeah,
working happens. That's
yeah, yeah, exactly. Character bonding.
Yeah. The boink.
um,
The what?
yeah,
The boinking.
the boinking. Yeah.
The
character, yeah,
boinking.
character boinking.
Oh,
All
the
right,
boinking. It's
but yeah,
Baldur's boinking. Hmm?
yeah. I also like because the one thing I forgot to mention is Half Life was 25 years old last Sunday.
Oh yeah.
Goddamn world. So
hmm
I replayed that game, and I just was amazed how fun that game still is.
Oh yeah, it is.
It has
And
fantastic pacing.
yes,
Exactly.
and
Yeah.
it's why are you not hearing it?
Well,
I
that is
muted it.
definitely
Oh,
an
there we go.
inherent part of some games that some feel longer and more drawn out because of terrible pacing. That's also a very major point. So yeah, Half-Life is it's also a pretty long game
Yeah,
compared to other shooters because I remember I played shooters that were like oh, in 8 hours you're done, and people were complaining. I'm like, no, that's perfectly fine for a shooter such as that. You know, but
Uh,
Half-Life is more than just a shooter; it's also an experience.
yeah, I
So
mean, of
yeah,
course, the opening everybody knows is a little,
Yeah.
it's the build up where nothing
hmm
happens really still, and then
yeah,
when things get going, you get into this flow of, oh, what's around the next corner, and
hmm
you're kind of completely like involved in all the visual storytelling. um and once in a while you, oh right, we're still in the story, you talk to a character that tells you an important message for what's
yeah,
coming up next. But most of the game, that's why I love Half-Life so much, is it's immersive storytelling. There's no cutscenes, there's no breaks.
It's all an engine.
um
Yeah.
it's all in
yeah.
engine.
It's only an engine. Yeah.
Yeah, and stuff like this where you go to a scientist and you lure him to a door that's locked, and he'll open the door for you if
hmm
he makes it there alive. And those
I
are
mean,
your
yeah,
secrets, right? Where you get extra ammo and stuff. And
yeah.
yeah, and that just made me realize that I'm a big fan of linear games.
hmm
Because they just go from A to B. Whatever is on your path is there. There's no side stories or side quests or whatever
hmm
you have to worry about. It's you and what's in front of you.
Yeah.
So sometimes, like, because there's so many open world structured games nowadays, that I miss that, and then I'm glad that I play a linear story game again, where
Yeah.
you can just go through this. And yeah, so playing Half-Life, for example, was just like, oh, this almost feels like a warm bath, like coming, like, oh, this is so nice. I can just go through these environments and get all these cool moments again and revisit. Of course, nostalgia is part of it, but the fights are really fun. Like, for example, with the soldiers, the
hmm
AI is really good, so
Yeah.
the fights are fun, right?
hmm
Which means you can, you use the environment, you set up traps for them with the tripwire stuff, and it was so refreshing for me to play this again.
Yeah.
And then I was like, "Ah." Sometimes, like, even if it's fairly simple, you just want an experience like that.
And and
hmm
Um,
and I absolutely agree because my favorite Zeldas are still not the really open world ones. It's still
yeah,
the Wind Waker. It's still
hmm
those. It's
It has sort of
definitely
open
not
world,
Breath
but
of the
yeah.
yeah, but it's no. It has an open area that you
Yeah.
can go from hub to hub. It's
Yeah.
not open world.
No.
Um,
Okay. Sort of, but not entirely.
no,
Yeah.
it's no, just no.
yeah,
No,
Uh,
it's an open world. You go through an open world,
yeah,
but
but
you go from island to
yeah,
island.
but you still need to go through a linear path
Yeah,
that's
true.
completely
Like I
guided.
said, it's sort of open world, but not
Yeah,
entirely.
but it's
But
not
yeah,
as
it's still a
bad
linear
as
experience.
Breath of the Wild. It's not as
No, that's true.
bad
No, no,
as
no.
Tears of the
That
Kingdom.
exactly.
That just this is a playground. Enjoy your
hmm
sandbox and have fun.
Yeah. No, no, it's not that. It's definitely not that. And to be honest, we need more games like Wind Waker. So
yeah.
look at
I mean,
God
yeah,
of War, like the rebooted God of War.
Yeah, I can get
It
into
has
those, but
no, I get that, but it's also this a sort of similar experience because you can't get to certain areas until you unlock them. So it's not very. It's not. It's also semi-open.
yeah, but it's still it's like it's linear with side paths,
Yeah.
because you can just go for the main quest, and get on with the game.
Mm-hmm.
And then if you want to, you can explore those. For example, in 2018 God of War, you
Mm-hmm.
have this, when things open up for the first time, you just have these, you have a few shores you can visit and
Yeah, you have a main
solve
hub.
some
Yeah.
solve some side quests. But
Mm-hmm.
that's just, it's to get you some extra stuff,
yep.
Mm-hmm.
but it's not like, it's
Not the
not
main
very
game.
important. It's not
Exactly.
detrimental to your gameplay experience.
No.
You could just go for the main story and still have that same, don't
Mm-hmm.
miss out on anything super important.
Yeah. And to be honest, I had the same feeling with Spider-Man 2. So it's an open world area,
Hmm.
but the story is again very linear. You don't need to do all the side quests to enjoy the story. But yeah, unless you want to get the platinum, but you can get the platinum very easily on
Mm,
on Spider-Man 2.
no, not really, because you do have to do everything to get the platinum.
You have to do everything. You can get it very easily if you do everything, and even then, it's still like max 30 hours.
Yeah,
So
but for 30 hours is pretty extensive. Like I said, it
Mhm.
nearly took me a month. I
I
do
know.
have to
I
platinum,
know.
but
Yeah.
okay, I made it a little harder on myself because I wanted to play it on the highest difficulty, even though it's not necessary for the
Yeah.
trophies whatsoever. It was just for my, my personal enjoyment. But
Mhm.
30 hours is absolutely not nothing, and you have to do
Oh, it's not
everything in
nothing.
that
No,
game to
true.
actually. You don't have to do everything perfectly. You don't have to do the
No,
Mysterio
true.
stuff on. You don't have to pre-star
On gold.
everything.
Yep.
Uh, but you do have to do everything. You have to finish every single
Yeah,
side
you have to
activity.
do everything. Yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, yeah, sort of, but not entirely. For the Mysterio stuff, yeah, if you want to finish that Mysterio story, sure.
Yeah, but the Mysterio story is one of the trophies, so you will
Yeah,
not get
true.
platinum
If you
unless you
get,
do
no,
it.
of course, you don't need to get the platinum, of course, if you don't want to. But yeah, I get that.
You can literally
So
just there's the same with all the other Spider-Mans. You can just run from story beat to story beat.
yeah.
There are 2 points in the game that they literally say like you need to do some other shit, and all you have to do is
Hmm.
like do 2 or 3 random crimes in the area, which will maybe
Hmm.
take you 5 minutes, and then you can go back to the main story. That's it.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
you do have to do but if you were talking about the platinum, and that's why I said you
Yeah,
have to
it's
do
true. Yeah,
everything.
no, you're
So,
right. You're
but you
right.
can probably
You
finish
don't need
this
to do
game in about.
perfectly, but yeah.
If you want to speed run this game, you can probably do it in less than 20 hours.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
Or at least
definitely.
if you just want to go just main, it will probably be like 16 hours max.
Hmm.
But
Yeah.
it's interesting, right? Because I played Control and Alan Wake 2,
Hmm.
uh, fairly linear games, but I still spent 30 hours in both.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just
And
looked it up because I wanted to ask you. Alan Wake 2,
yeah,
according to how long to beat, it's only 17 and a half hours, but close
yeah,
to 30 if you do a 100 completion. So you
I
must have
did,
been
I
very
did,
lost.
yeah, but I did, yes,
The gameplay
also,
didn't click. You said
but
that.
I
Gameplay
did
didn't
try to
click.
do a lot of the extra stuff because I wanted
Ah,
to
okay.
know
Yeah.
how, because
How
that's one of the
fleshed out was the
things.
rest of the world?
Yeah, I mean
Yeah.
it's kind of funny because the game like guides you towards a linear path, but that if you look at your left and you see another forest path and you see something shiny, you're like, wait, what's that?
Yeah.
And that's how you discover, oh, there's extra stuff to find.
The shiny stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Every damn game.
yeah, and so yeah, I did go out my way to explore like the areas, like, and that's one of those things, right? The first time you arrive in the main town for Alan Wake 2, you it's like almost open world, like you can
Yeah.
explore that whole town, and I'm
Mm,
like, should I, do I need to? And then I discovered, well, there's not really anything here yet to find, so I was like
right.
wandering around for like 20 minutes to 30 minutes, just looking at things, which is also nice because the game looks great. But
Yeah.
eventually it was just like, okay, I have to go to this objective, and then okay,
Right.
yeah, there we go, there's your progress.
Hmm.
but um but yeah, so yeah, this game does have side content,
Yeah.
and but most of it is, to get some extra supplies. So it is that main line, and I think it's actually, in the end, everything connects together. So it is basically an open world, but
Hmm.
you're like exploring different sections of that,
Yeah.
Yeah.
like
Which are
closed
fairly
off
linear.
basically.
Yeah.
And then
Okay.
at the end, oh, I can actually walk all the way from this area back to the main city, and yeah, through the
Oh yeah.
forest basically.
Yeah.
So because that connects in the end, it all
Yeah.
connects together.
Nice.
So yeah, it feels like a linear game, but it is
Hmm.
kind of open world. So
Yeah.
I don't know. It's like an in between, like this weird in between.
Yeah. Have
Okay.
you ever played? Have you ever played a game where at some point you were really like, I just gonna give up and never gonna come back
Oh yeah.
if it was too long?
But too long. Oof.
Because I had that with Fallout 3 and Fallout 4.
I had that with almost every Bethesda game.
Yeah.
I think Starfield
The exception.
and Fallout 3 are the only
Hmm.
ones I finished
Right.
I
out of all
never
Bethesda
I have to be
games.
honest. I never finished the Bethesda game. They've all ended up
Yeah.
in. I think I got pretty close with Skyrim, but with Skyrim I kind of just wanted to see everything, and then the
Hmm.
novelty ran off, and that's it.
Or yeah,
It
yeah,
wore off, and I just
yeah,
stopped playing.
I got like lost in
yeah.
quest lines in that game where like I would join guilds and things and everything, and I was like, okay, I got 20,000 objectives now. Good
Yeah,
luck. And I was like, okay,
yeah,
somewhere there is a main story, but
hmm,
look over there, thingy.
yeah.
And then,
Well,
then I
well,
was just like, and it just like you spend so much time in it, and then eventually like, oh look, new shiny game. You know,
yeah,
you just get distracted by
yeah.
something
I
else.
get that. I get that.
I think
Yeah.
that's also a problem, especially this year, that there is so
Oh
many
yeah.
games
There's
to
so many
play.
good games. Yeah.
And not only the big, AAA big blockbuster releases, but also
No.
those smaller games that
Yep.
also that you want to play because they kind of scratch this certain like niche or whatever
Hmm.
that you want to play right now, like exactly when you are tired after work.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then those other games get shelved again. Backlog goes higher.
Yep.
I mean, that happens a lot too.
Indeed.
So it's yeah. I mean, I think in around the PS2 era and Xbox 360 era, you kind of had like you had a big release every so
Hmm.
often,
Yeah.
and you would spend your entire gaming time on that, and maybe play a multiplayer game on the side.
Yeah.
Um, and now we have so much shit, and I
Yeah.
think
And
yeah.
way more indie games than ever before
Oh yeah,
as well.
Yeah, but
yes, the
we
indie
also have.
rise is insane.
There's
Insane.
also so much access nowadays to games. Like
Yeah.
I know that you're not really into that, but there are people who have libraries because of PlayStation Now or Game
Hmm.
Pass, and
Yeah.
that just gives you more distractions from your actual backlist.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So
that's why
yeah,
I don't do it. I don't do Game Pass and stuff. Even though I am subscribed. Oh no, I have a
Hmm.
code ready to go. But I
Right.
just don't do that because you have like this whole list of free games you can play now.
Hmm.
And I'm like, no, I'm going to pay for my game so I know that I have invested something,
Yeah.
right? And then okay, then I have to play it. Like
Yeah.
that's how I think it works for me the best.
Yeah. I've been treating them like, okay, if I really love this game, I am going to buy it eventually. You
That's
know?
also yeah, that's also a thing.
yeah. My problem is just like I'm just buy everything. I literally my backlist is my backlog is crazy. Like
True.
I
Yeah.
I honestly I think I have like 4 or 5 games added to my library this month. It's nuts.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
and so some of them are old and 3DS games or DS games, and so some of them
Yeah.
are newer. But yeah, I added just from the top of my head, I added Marvel Midnight Suns, which I already owned on PC, but I bought the PS5 version. I hate you, Black
Why?
Friday, because
Yeah. Good Friday.
I don't sit at my desk, and if I want
No,
to
I
play a
understand.
game and
Yeah.
relax, I want to sit on my
Yeah.
couch. I
Yeah.
don't sit at my computer. I
No,
work at my computer the entire day. I'm done
I
by the
know.
end of the
Yeah.
evening.
I get that. I get that.
So
Yeah.
I kind of wanted it um on PlayStation, so I picked it up there.
Right.
Then then I actually picked up Persona 5 Tactica. I love Persona 5. I picked up Persona 5 Royal on Switch just because I have all Persona games on Switch, including the ones from
Oh yeah. Reload and the other one. Yeah.
yeah.
Persona 4.
Well, no,
Yeah.
not Reload because
Those are coming.
yeah, but Reload is still coming.
Yeah. Yeah.
But Portable, I also bought
Oh right.
Portal and I bought Golden for Switch. So now I
Yeah.
have like 3, 4, 5, and all the 5 expansions or extended games on Switch.
Right.
So
Right.
I just
Including
keep
Breakers.
growing my
Yeah.
backlog, and it's crazy. So I started a YouTube show, and I'm currently editing the first episode, and I think I'm gonna start releasing them after the third episode is done editing. But I
Mm-hmm.
started working on my backlog,
Yeah.
and I'm gonna
So
call it Tales from my backlog, and I'm gonna and it's gonna be fun because I'm gonna decide if I want to keep them in my library or not. And if I don't want to keep
right.
them in my library, I'm gonna put them to the side. And when I'm done,
Yeah.
or when I've done that for over a year,
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna give them away in a live stream. So
Right.
every game that I don't like in my backlog that that I will either give away on a live stream or I will give away in a whatnot
Right.
auction if it eventually comes to the
Right.
Netherlands.
So, speaking of buying games, I couldn't resist anymore. So,
One Piece.
yeah, I picked up One Piece Odyssey
Yeah.
for PS5.
Huh,
Yeah, I
28
couldn't
bucks.
resist. Yeah, I know. And I still had I did finish no, I didn't finish Lost Judgment yet, and I still want to start playing with Persona 5 Royal, because I've been postponing that as well, even though I had Persona 5 Strikers even longer. So um but yeah, now I also want to play One Piece Odyssey really really bad, but I also have a lot of other games I want to play and finish. So I know how it feels
Yeah. So
when
so I'm gonna start
yeah.
going through my backlog. I'm gonna see what I like, and
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna just stick to Switch for now, because if
Right.
I'm gonna add my Steam library, which has 1,200 games, I'm gonna go insane. So I'm gonna start with Switch, and I might expand it out to the other consoles.
Right.
Because let's be honest, then I have the added gimmick of will I give it away or will I keep it in my collection?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Did you guys know there's a
Makes sense.
33% coupon on Epic Game Store right now?
Yeah, I've,
Luckily, I don't buy from Epic Game Store.
Yeah.
I
You
refuse
know,
to buy anything
you
there.
can buy a game now for like minus one third the price. This is how I get like lured
Yeah.
in buying something
Well,
random.
if only
yeah.
you held off on Alan Wake 2, you would have gotten it with 33%.
Exactly. That was one my first thought when
Very
that
good
Epic
point.
when that coupon popped up, and of course
Yeah.
Steam is on a sale. It's it's the sale month. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
Yeah, but
that's also one of those
Yeah.
it's
stupid.
gonna be sale month again by the we're gonna have a winter sale around Christmas time.
Mm-hmm.
There's a spring sale coming in February or March or something like that.
Yeah.
There's always a sale around the corner.
Yeah, there's just too many games. I
They're
think
yeah.
True.
it has grown so much.
Yeah.
The whole industry has grown so much. I think that's just part of the problem. That's what I was saying, like in these
Yeah.
360 era where it was kind of it was still big, but it was you had a
Mm-hmm.
few games, and then only a
Well,
few of those games you personally would be interested in.
yeah,
And now
and
there's
that's yeah, and that's another thing because all the big games coming out are big budget games, so they
a lot.
have
Yeah,
yeah, so they cost a lot more time to play. You don't really have those. I really hate the term triple A and double A and that sort of stuff, but it coming from a marketing perspective or a retail perspective, I understand those terms.
mm,
Um, but double A games weren't really there anymore for the longest of time,
Now there's
and then
RoboCop though.
yeah,
oh yeah,
yeah.
that's a very good point.
That's
That
kind of
is
that's the
definitely a
kind of
double A
the
game.
That's
it's the
kind of
poster
the
Yeah,
double
child
A
for it
game.
right now.
yeah. We need more games like that because also from what I heard, it's really fun.
Yeah,
It did well.
Yeah.
it's one of those things that I almost want to. I sometimes have that where I wouldn't buy it just to
Mm-hmm.
support the developer and
Oh,
maybe not
not
even
just
play it.
yeah. No, I really want to play it because I'm a big fan of the original movie.
Yeah.
So
Oh
yeah,
yeah, no, it's definitely one that's gonna be. I'm gonna get it
I'm
at a
gonna get
certain
it
point.
as well at
Eventually,
some point.
I'll pick it up as well.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
because
mean, I
I
also
want to
have
be
their
RoboCop. I want to grab people by their throats and just throw them
yeah.
away.
I
Okay,
also
guys,
have
So
their
we're 20 minutes
yeah
over.
oh
yeah.
yeah,
Let's let's go around the
yeah.
table one more time. How do
Well,
you?
I want Messman to finish his thought first.
Yeah,
Oh no, I was just gonna say I also have their previous game, their Terminator game, which was really good.
Terminator
It's also
Resistance,
on my
right?
list. Yeah,
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
it's a little like a little less on the total quality, but it's still
Mm-hmm.
it's very good. Like their love for the source material is just very good. So
It also got really good praise at the point
Okay.
yeah,
when it came
it's
out.
like
Yeah.
that was their big breakthrough, and RoboCop was their basically their
Mm-hmm.
follow up. That's even bigger
Yeah,
Yeah.
success.
and it's only 16 euros on Steam right now. So
Yeah. So that was what I was
interesting.
gonna say. Yeah,
All right,
good game as
cool.
well.
Thanks.
Okay.
Thanks for reminding me. So
Any final thoughts on the topic?
I think there's just a lot of factors, and And I don't like the complaint of when people say it's a 20-hour game or 30-hour game, and people say it's not enough.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, no, that's plenty. And I think a
Yeah.
lot of people have that weird expectation when a game is open world that it has to be like 60 to 100 hours or
Yeah.
something. That it's
Yeah.
like this weird expectation. I don't know where it comes from.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe because some of those games do have that, and then it gets stacked up against them or something.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Well,
there's a lot of factors, and like I said, the growth
yeah.
of the industry with more
Well,
games coming out, and etc.
yeah, and there's also the expectancy of a lot of well, unless you, I remember you want to say it's a reasonable expectancy, because if you buy €70, you really want your money's worth, of course. But buy a game for €70 or
Yeah,
seventy
the
bucks,
price point, yeah, is
the
another
price point is
thing.
also very important. But
I think it price points important, but price points shouldn't factor in length. It should factor in entertainment. Are you entertained
exactly,
for the right amount of time?
precisely,
Yeah,
yes.
and if you are entertained and you had fun with it,
Hmm.
it might be worth your money. And
Yeah.
only you can decide that. I don't think
Yeah.
time should be a factor.
No.
Because
No.
you can play a game for 60 hours. There's this Penn and Teller game where you have to drive a bus and only have to steer slightly
Oh
to the
yeah.
left.
Hmm.
And you can play
Yep.
that game for over 30 hours, but you're never going to be entertained.
Yeah,
Well, you might be entertained if that's your thing,
For
but
okay, but most people won't be entertained because that was
no.
kind of the joke about that game. But
Exactly. Yeah. The absurdity of it. It's
yeah, I
great.
think it's
Yeah.
called like the Magic Bus Tour or something like that. It doesn't matter what it's
Hmm.
called. It's a Penn and Teller game. You can look it up.
Yeah.
Uh, So I think that if you're just entertained, it doesn't matter if a game is 4 hours or if it's 40 hours. It just matters how much enjoyment you got out of your product and if it's worth it
Yeah.
to you. I
Yep.
enjoy Telltale games and they're definitely not 40 hours. But
No,
I'm
no.
having fun with them.
Yep.
So it's worth it to me.
I really want to pick up the Expanse one.
I need to finish watching The Expanse first so I can actually understand what
Yeah.
happens in that
No,
game.
I get that. I get that. Yeah. And
yeah,
there's also I mean, you're not much of a Star Trek fan, I know that, but there's also from former Telltale people, there's also Star Trek Resurgence, and both
Resurgence
of them.
apparently is pretty bad though.
So yeah, I'm still in doubt about that one. So I
I,
might pick it up when it's cheap and try it
I've
then
heard some
because
bad things. And
yeah.
I'm more into Star Trek than I am into Star Wars. I'm just not really into the shows anymore. But okay.
No, I get
With that being said, Matsman, where can people find you? Let's just close this out for today.
it.
yeah. They can find me on the platform also known as Twitter, at the Metsman, and I'm also on Blue Sky, which is metsman.bsky.social. And
Mhm.
yeah, but I'm mostly on the platform known as Twitter,
Formerly
and
known as Twitter. Yeah.
yeah, only known as Twitter. That's where I am most active. That's why if I go live with a stream, I sometimes do that in the weekends when I feel like it. I will announce that there as well. And there's a link tree on my platform known as Twitter as well, where all my other stuff is linked. So you can find
Yeah.
me there.
Thank you.
Cool.
Okay, Vash, how about you?
Well, basically the same at this moment. Still have an account on Twitter. We'll see how long it lasts. And I've also got an account on BSky, which is the same PVBAIKUN. And then BSky, you obviously add bsky.social. .bsky.social. So that's it.
Cool. Okay, you can find me at Pixels and Sprite on Twitter, at Pixels and Sprite on YouTube. Keep an eye on that one because content is coming fairly shortly. And
Ooh.
since I'm gonna play stuff from my backlog, I'm probably gonna play some of it, not in its entirety, but some of it will be on Twitch. So keep an eye on this channel because we're gonna be playing some of my backlog here. I need to record some stuff, so might as well just stream it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so thank you all for watching, tuning in. If you watch the VOD, you can find us live on Twitch every Friday, every other Friday. Sorry.
Mhm.
And then we'll be back in 2 weeks. Hope you guys
Yep.
have a great couple of days, and see you later. Bye bye.
Bye
Bye.
bye.